Welcome to another exciting episode, where we'll be exploring accounts from people who journeyed to the other side. These are people who claim to have seen heaven, hell, or even places beyond our wildest imagination before returning to life. What did they see? How did their experience change their lives? Stay tuned as we delve into some of the most shocking and well-documented stories. Mary Neal's story, A Journey to Paradise. Mary Neal, a surgeon, had an out-of-body experience when she was trapped underwater for over 15 minutes during a serious kayaking accident in Chile in 1999. During this time, Mary described seeing paradise. She felt complete peace and love, and saw loved ones who had already passed away. Although she felt ready to stay in this world, she was told that she had to return to Earth to take care of her family. After her experience, Mary changed her outlook on life and dedicated herself to spirituality and philanthropy. Question for the audience. If you had the choice to stay in paradise or return to Earth, what would you choose? Don Piper, the miracle of returning from paradise. Don Piper was involved in a car accident in 1989. He was clinically dead for 90 minutes, during which he says he went to heaven. Don describes a bright and peaceful place filled with loved ones who had passed away. However, while he felt complete happiness, he was given the opportunity to return. Today he talks about his experience, saying that it changed his life forever. Comparison with other religions. It is worth noting that such experiences of paradise are not unique to the Christian faith. In ancient Egypt, for example, souls had to go through trials to be judged worthy of eternal life. This concept of the afterlife is universal, permeating cultures and religions. Bill Weese's Visit to Hell, A Nightmare Comes Alive. Bill Weese's experience takes us to a completely different world. In 1998, Bill claimed to have seen hell in a vivid, nightmarish experience. He described waking up in a dark cell, surrounded by demons and terrifying figures who inflicted physical pain and mental anguish on him. He said he felt incredible heat, thirst, and extreme despair, with no hope of escape. Weese claims that this experience was given to him as a warning to spread the message of the existence of hell to others. His description is full of gruesome details that send chills down your spine. This experience led him to dedicate his life to warning people about the dangers of eternal damnation. He described the demons as terrifying, monstrous creatures that grabbed and tormented him. He himself reported hearing the cries of other suffering souls and saw a large pit of fire where people were tortured for eternity. Weese reported that his experience was so real that he felt it on every level, physically, mentally, and spiritually. After he returned, he began sharing his experience with others, claiming that he had this revelation as a warning about what happens to those who do not follow the divine faith. Question for the audience. Do you believe in the existence of hell, or is it just a metaphor for fear? Colton Burpo's testimony, A Child in Paradise. The story of Colton Burpo, a boy from Nebraska who underwent emergency surgery in March 2003 at the age of 4, has captivated millions of people worldwide. He was only 4 years old when he was forced to undergo surgery due to a ruptured appendix. During the anesthesia, Colton claims to have visited heaven, where he met Jesus, angels, and his sister who had died in a miscarriage, an event he didn't even know had happened. His story became a global phenomenon and was published in a book and film, Heaven is for Real. It is one of the most moving examples of a return from the other side, as the child shared details that he could not have known. Howard Storm, From Hell to Paradise. Howard Storm, a former atheist, had a tragic near-death experience in 1985. During a serious illness, he claims to have found himself in hell, surrounded by creatures that were torturing him. Seeing the end approaching, Storm prayed for help. And then, he saw a light coming towards him. This light took him from hell and transported him to a place of peace and love where he met beings who imparted infinite wisdom to him. This experience transformed Storm from an atheist into an ardent supporter of spirituality. His transformation is one of the most radical changes recorded after a near-death experience. The scientific explanation: what happens in the brain? Scientists have been trying for years to explain what happens in the brain during these experiences. One theory is that the brain, as it struggles to stay alive, creates intense visual and emotional responses that simulate heaven or hell. Other research has linked these experiences to the release of chemicals such as endorphins, which create intense feelings of joy and peace. But many of those who have had these experiences insist that what they experienced was beyond the material and scientific level. Each testimony we examine opens up more questions than it answers. Stephen Moussai, a director in Hell and Heaven. As he describes, when he found himself in the dark world of hell, he felt feelings of intense fear, despair, and loneliness. Shadowy figures surrounded him, and his sense of time seemed to have vanished. As he prayed, he began to perceive a change. The dark atmosphere gradually transformed into a world full of light and harmony. Moussai described the transition from hell to heaven as an experience of complete catharsis, a process that showed him the absolute distinction between pain and peace. In heaven, Moussai remembers seeing colorful landscapes and hearing music that he described as heavenly, something he later incorporated into his artistic work. He then dedicated his life to searching for and understanding the relationship between the soul and the divine. This experience inspired him to create a documentary entitled The Road from Hell to Heaven, where he presented his own story, as well as other similar testimonies from people who had lived through similar experiences. His work traveled the world and opened up a dialogue about spirituality and the afterlife. The story of Anita Murjani, Rebirth from the Threshold of Death. Anita Murjani had been diagnosed with terminal cancer and had reached the brink of death in 2006. Her doctors had given her little hope of survival. At this point, Anita experienced an amazing near-death experience during which she felt that she was in a place of absolute love and peace. In heaven, she felt united with everything around her and realized that cancer was the result of emotions and fears that she held inside. Her return to life was accompanied by a complete physical recovery, which doctors could not explain. Anita now teaches that love and self-acceptance are fundamental elements of spiritual and physical health. Her story has touched thousands of people, and her book, Dying to Be Me, became a global bestseller. Daniel Eccles' experience. An encounter with beings of light. Daniel Eccles, a physician, experienced one of the most mysterious near-death experiences when he suffered a heart attack in 2012. Daniel describes finding himself in a space where he was greeted by beings of light, who conveyed to him information about the essence of life and the universe. Although his experience was not a traditional picture of heaven or hell, he felt a deep sense of connection with the divine. These beings conveyed to him the knowledge that life on earth is only part of a wider journey that continues after death. Daniel says that this experience completely changed the way he sees life and death, and he has dedicated himself to researching mystical experiences and understanding spirituality. As different as the experiences we've heard are, they all have one thing in common. They give us a picture of what might exist beyond life as we know it. Each story, from the encounter with beings of light to the transition from hell to heaven, offers a glimpse into a world full of mystery, spirituality, and emotional power. These experiences remind us that, whether we believe in a higher purpose or not, life and death are two sides of the same coin that connects us all. Whether it's the fear and anguish of hell or the absolute peace and love of heaven, the experiences of these people raise questions and push us to seek deeper meaning in our own lives. Could there be more than meets the eye? Perhaps these stories are a mirror that calls us to examine the very purpose of our existence. Whatever one believes, one thing is certain. These testimonies bring us closer to understanding the inexplicable and wondering what really happens when our journey on earth ends. Thank you for staying with me until the end, and until next time, remember, life is a great mystery.